True amount included is the mover's fee, and that's the estimated service charge for the furniture. Once the check clears, pickup can be scheduled. And he's gonna come here, grab all the furniture and the cash, and I'm gonna be out of furniture and $5,500.
That's what he wants for us.
Okay.
What did we do to him?
I know.
You didn't do anything to you, Antonio. Why do you want this for us? We don't want this for you.
Just be careful. If it looks too good to be true, it is. Okay, so welcome to Meet to Keston Jones channel.
Okay, and you are?
I am Ishé from livingishe Reviews. My channel on YouTube, just type in livingishe Reviews.
And I am Lisa, also known as the Alkali Yogi.
And type in Alkali Yogi on YouTube, and you'll get her content, all her great vlogs and car chats and blogs. She's also on iTunes. The blog, what's it called?
My podcast.
Yeah, she got a podcast on iTunes.
Her Healing Hour.
Called Her Healing Hour. Now, everybody go to iTunes. If you have an iOS, Apple, iPhone, go to iTunes and search Her Healing Hour on YouTube. On Apple. And I don't know on Android. I guess just go to whatever podcast app on Android and look for her blog, because she gives you all the healing and health, the game like that, and the metaphysics and all that stuff. Some good stuff, and her voice is so soothing. You can just put it on and just la 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 yourself to sleep. Okay.
I'm melting, guys, in real time. Thank you.
All right.
My greatest source of support right here. I'm so grateful.
Yes. And as well, everybody go to our Twitter. We have Twitter. It's Keston Jones. And we have also started our Instagram page, and it's going to be popping in a minute. Yes, and it's called Meet to Keston Jones on Instagram. We put all of that in the description. All right, so today we are here to talk about these scammers. Lot of mercy.
Lot of His mercy.
Why?
They have been trying us, let me tell you.
I know.
Trying us like something that we could have never imagined or seen coming when we initially went to the marketplace that's on the face of book that we thought would be a reasonable place to try and attempt to sell some of our belongings that we no longer need.
Yes, and I think a lot of things came out of this pandemic or scamdemic, because
or plandemic.
Plandemic. People got either they got better on their skills and making money and getting jobs. Either they lost their jobs, found new careers. Some people lost weight, some people gained weight, some people got good on their fitness, some people went down on their fitness, and some people learned how to scam even better than before, because we use the platforms for what they're supposed to be used for. We don't have a scamming mind, so we don't know all the scams that come out. So for us, it's new. Like, as people just trying to sell stuff on the platforms, we're not expecting all these things that's happening. So we want to just let people know. We want to tell the people, to watch out for certain things, because for once, I mean, if you don't know about this stuff, you could fall victim, like easy, because I got caught lacking a little bit. I didn't go all the way, but I say about 5 years ago, there was a scam going around. It was the iTunes gift card scam.
Okay.
So somebody would contact you with I think they'd have either email from Amazon or iTunes or Apple, and they would say, "Oh, you can make some money if you just I'll send you a gift card. You go cash it, or you go buy something, send it to me, and you'll get the money or leftover, whatever, or we'll send you a check, something like that." I can't remember exactly, but somebody told me, "Hey, that's a scam." So basically, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. So I had to report the person I got the email. I reported them to the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. That's who you report.
Good to know.
People, yeah, you report. You can report the site or the email or the person who contacts you. Send all that to the FTC, and they'll do investigations on it. So back to what we're here to talk about is the latest scams that we've come across. Yes, your boy, your girl almost got scammed, almost got caught lacking, but we didn't get caught. But we decided to have a little fun with it anyway. And
We did have a little bit of fun, didn't we?
we sure did. So like she said, I was trying to sell the furniture that I had before she entered my life. I had, my bachelor pad intact. I had all this furniture that was not up to it's not bougie enough. And it's,
No.
well, I had a lot of furniture. I got a lot of furniture.
It's very masculine. It's very
yes,
masculine.
a lot of
We're
masculine.
looking to find
energy.
some balance.
Yeah. So, we decided to sell. I decided to sell it all, and
This
just
table included. If you
purchase.
guys are interested,
This is a nice tape.
if you guys are interested,
It's
it's
too
on
masculine for.
It's it's on Facebook Marketplace. It's available now. This, guys, can be yours if you pay, though, without scamming.
Anyway, I decided to go ahead along and let me try to sell this furniture. So we tried to sell it, and first thing we did, we put it on Craigslist, we put it on Facebook Market,
And Let Go.
And
as
Let
well,
Go.
which is an app. Mm-hmm.
yes,
Or OfferUp. Sorry, I think it used to be Let Go, and now it's OfferUp.
OfferUp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I just gave the okay.
Yeah, I'm the one that posted.
She posted it.
And then Havoc came forth.
Yeah. So we put the furniture up on the sites and got a lot of traction from Facebook Marketplace. Now, we don't really use Facebook.
Ever.
I mostly post from Instagram and just, have it go to Facebook. And lately I've been on Facebook because old people pop up, I got most of my relatives on Facebook. But anyway, we don't use Facebook like that, not like the old days. But Facebook, I didn't even know there was a Facebook Marketplace. That's something new that I didn't know.
And actually, my brother, to be fully transparent, it was my brother that told me whilst I was getting ready to move here, and I was selling my own things in Canada. He told me about Facebook Marketplace because, full disclosure, I actually left Facebook in October of 2012, exactly 10 years ago this month. 2012, October, I left Facebook and only created a pseudo account now because of the Marketplace.
Yeah.
Where I don't have any friends
no
or anything on
pictures,
it.
no friends.
No. So don't try to find me.
Yes, not on Facebook.
I'm not trying to go back to Facebook either.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
I'm 10 years clean, sober.
Well, I have a lot of friends I even have some young friends, but I got a group of people who I know that we're the Ranters Union. Also check out the Ranters Union on YouTube. But anyway, they have a good, they have a Facebook page that I'm an administrator in. So, but anyway, enough about that. Facebook Marketplace. So we put up my living room set. So that's a couch, a love seat, well,
And a chair.
a couch with two reclining things, and then a love seat with two recliners on it, and then a lazy boy chair with a recliner. Everything's reclining, so you can sit back, watch, drink beer, watch sports, and all that stuff.
Like a bachelor would.
Yes. And also put up a bedroom set, because my bedroom set was too masculine, I guess. It's too boxed. It's big.
It's very heavy.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
It's really heavy.
Yeah.
So we got a queen size bed, a dresser,
A nightstand. And,
cabinet, a nightstand, a TV stand that looks like another dresser with glass, and then another a tall dresser, and then a long dresser, and then we put up Coco's my son's bunk bed.
no, we actually have not put that up yet because I was trying to get rid of the heavier, bulky items first.
Okay, so that's next.
But this table is up.
And this table.
Yeah,
And the chairs.
And the furniture in the basement is up because he also had a bit of a man cave, which will still be a man cave, but we're going to swap out some of the furniture for some furniture that will also accommodate our guests when they come and stay.
All right, yeah. I really don't want to get rid of the leather couches in the basement.
You don't?
But
He didn't tell me
we
that.
no. I mean, I had them. I had
Oh,
'em
babe.
before. So anyway, no problem.
We'll chat more
They
about
are. Yeah, I mean, it's easier to move with lighter stuff. So I'm in agreement with that because I want to, minimize also.
True. Part of the reason too, it's not just because, and that's a good point. It's not just
Yeah.
because the stuff that is in the place in the home currently is very masculine because he was living here primarily as a bachelor, but also because we do have an exit strategy. We've mentioned this to you all before. If you've been following our journey, you know that we have plans of exiting the West at some point. And when we do that, we don't want to be encumbered with trying to get rid of a billion things. And right now, between his stuff and my stuff, we are kind of bursting at the seams. So this is also a decluttering of sorts for us.
Not like it's cluttered, but
Right. It's not cluttered,
It's
but it could
just
just afford to
more
be.
minimal
Yeah, exactly.
and more modular stuff, So
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, as normal people who would try to sell stuff, like, hey,
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace, let's put
Exactly.
it on there too.
Yeah, and to be honest, I had great success in Canada with Facebook Marketplace. So I was really surprised. I didn't have any of these issues.
So the scamming starts here.
The scamming really
In the
started here.
USA.
Because at the top of the year is when I moved here, and I didn't have any issues at the top of the year when I was selling my things on Facebook Marketplace. It was very successful. So I was hoping to get another round of that, if you will, but I was surprised. Well, actually, initially, I thought we had success. It was really when, one of 3 or 4 people that initially showed interest was like, listen, I really want this stuff now. I'm just going to send you a check so that you can take the booking off of the ad, off of Facebook Marketplace, and hold it for me. And so we were just like, great. At this point, we're still coasting along, not suspecting anything.
Yeah.
Until we kind of, well, no, I shouldn't say we weren't suspecting anything because we're like, well, it is kind of odd that, because you see what happened was the initial person that tried to scam us, and there have been.
Well, what was the name of the first person that hit you up, or the guy that we decided?
I think Anthony.
Anthony. Okay,
Yeah,
so Mr.
we have to go back.
Mr. Anthony sent a message and said, "Yeah, I like the pictures. I want that furniture.
I'm going to buy it. I'm going to send you a check." And I'm like, okay, that's fine. He said a cashier's check.
Oh, he asked will we accept checks.
Yeah.
I said yes.
Yes, it was a cashier's check, which to my understanding is a bank check, which means it's virtually cash in hand, right? Because they have to immediately withdraw the funds from the person's account, write you a check, which is valid as cash, really and truly, from the time that it's written. So that was my impression. But what caught me off guard, and that's kind of when my spidey senses started to go off, is he said, I'm going to pay you more than what you're asking, and I'm going to send movers to you. So it started to become a bit elaborate and complicated. And so what you're going to do is cash the check and then take what is your asking price for the furniture and give the remaining funds to the moving company. Well, I, in the last year and a bit, have moved twice. Once from New York, and he was there with me. And then early at the beginning of this year, coming here. And when we were doing the Brooklyn move, as I was leaving Brooklyn, New York, that was all done, like the company had my credit card details, et cetera, et cetera. So there was no giving them cash. And besides, you pay them after the items have been delivered, typically not beforehand. So I found it odd that I was supposed to, the sellers, give cash to a company that we have no business with, and that they were going to then take the furniture and deliver it to this gentleman. So that was kind of when my spidey senses went off. But then, and so as a result of that, when the check arrived, I said to Ishé, I think we should do some research. So he obviously looked up the quote unquote bank. He made some phone calls, right? Is that when?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was like, kind of odd too that somebody would buy something sight unseen, like especially like furniture. I'm expecting like, okay, if you want it and you're in the area, set up a time, you come by, look at the furniture. It's normal, right? Because on Facebook Marketplace, you can put the area you're in, and the person knows you're in that area, so why not? But
so I actually had looked up his profile, and if I'm not mistaken, he was in Philly, according to his profile, and he said he was having the furniture shipped from here to Philly. We're in the DMV, so even that was a little bit off, and I should.
Well, for me, yeah, you told me that, and I was like, well, that's not far. It's only like a 2-hour drive,
Sure.
2.5-hour drive.
Right.
So yeah, I know people from here to go to Philly every weekend. People work in Philly, commute down here sometimes for work. I know a few people do that. So I was like, okay, that might work. So, and we also, when I sold my car.
We had great success with that.
But
it was on Facebook Marketplace.
No.
What happened?
Remember? We had the same thing that happened. Well, hold on. We'll go to that later. So anyway, the first guy, Anthony, right? So I just found it like, man, that's kind of cool, but it's kind of strange. Like, he's going to send us a check, a cashier's check for, let's say we're asking $3,000 for the furniture. He's going to send us a check for $5,000. We cash the check. We put the check in our account. Take out the cash, all $5,000. Cash the check for $5,000 cash. Get the $5,000 in cash. Wait for the movers to show up. So I'm supposed to take my $3,000 out of that $5,000. Give the movers $12,000. $2,000. But didn't he say what he said it was going to be $1,200 and you keep what's left? Didn't he say something like that?
He said something along, you can keep a little bit extra. Which
And
is
I'm like, man, it's starting to sound too
good to be true.
Yeah, and it's like, hold on. So the guys are going to come move the furniture, so they're going to have the furniture and pay them the money. It sounds really convenient.
Yeah, because again, like, why would they even come out without confirming or getting a credit card on file as a moving company? I couldn't get anyone to come out to move my things in Brooklyn without first providing my credit card details, because no one's just going to show up and start moving without having something on file. So the whole thing started to sound a bit wonky, but again, I looked at the profile, I was like,
Yeah, and remember,
I don't know, maybe he's a bachelor, he needed something ASAP because he's divorcing or coming out of a relationship. I kind of started to make excuses in my head for him.
yeah,
to kind of justify.
We do. We want it to be true.
Yeah,
because we don't think like, you don't want to think like there's a lot of crazy people who do some crazy stuff out there. You're like, yeah, maybe that, this could happen. It's not
right,
totally out of the realm of possibility, but
you're like scamming everyday working people, like.
Yeah. So wait a minute, with Mr. Anthony, he kept sending you messages. He's
Yeah.
like,
Did you get the check? Has
yeah,
it arrived
he
yet?
asked for our address to send a check.
Yeah.
And so I was like, nah, I'm gonna give him. I have a business post office box, a UPS box that I use for business, and so I was like, I'll give him that address, and I'll go get the check. And he kept sending messages. Did you get the check? Or I sent the check. Let me know when you got it.
Right.
And then we'll respond to him. Oh, no, we didn't get it yet. Oh yeah, we got it.
He
Right.
was very anxious.
Yeah. And then I went and got the check. Oh yeah, I went and got the check. I picked it up, and then it came in a FedEx envelope, postage paid, and I opened it up, and I'm looking at the check, and I'm like, I don't know about this check because I've worked in finance for a long time, and I had a duty at one time where I was like how can I say it? I was like a dispersing agent at one point in my career, and I used to have to deal with checks and cash and all that stuff. So I'm very good at looking at checks and checking out money to see if it's real or whatever. So I looked at the check. I was like, it looks legit, but I'm not sure. You can't be sure because I'm like, when you get a cashier check, it has two parts. It has the actual check, and then it has a remittance attached to it. That's the part you tear off and you keep for your records.
Right.
The person who issued the check is not supposed to keep that. The person you issue it to keep that. As they cash the check, you got a record of it. So if you're issuing a check, you already have a record in your bank of the check. So anyway,
We didn't have a remittance slip, right?
there was no remittance on it. It was just a check.
Yeah. And you know what else was missing? A watermark.
Why not?
And I noticed that the address, the check came from New York. So now, because he was showing as living in Philly, I was like, and it was the Bronx. So I'm like,
Yeah, the address on the
from a woman.
on the envelope.
Yeah, so now we have a woman in the Bronx mailing us a check for this guy, Anthony, who supposedly lives in Philadelphia, and it's all just getting really messy now.
And I Googled the address on the envelope, and it was a
Right.
pizza shop.
Yeah,
In the
it wasn't
Bronx.
even an actual home address, so we're like,
Or it was a Krispy Kreme or a pizza shop. I can't
yeah,
remember.
it was all off. Yeah, like
It
it was all going
I was
down.
like,
it was
yeah,
going
this is-
south very quickly.
This is looking kind of crazy. And the thing is like, we was really trying to make a sales, trying to get rid of this stuff so we can, keep doing what we plan to do. The furniture, for the whole living room furniture I was charging $3,000. I paid way more than that, but I was like, okay, if I get $3,000, that's cool. I'm happy.
More than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And-
what I would replace it with is not going to cost that much. It's going to
it's
be
gonna be
cheap
nice,
and cheerful. It's going to be cheap, cheerful, and cute.
Yeah. So yeah, I looked at the check and I said, okay, that don't make sense. That don't make sense. So I brought the check. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go. I called the bank.
Hello. Yes. Is this SunTrust? No, it's Truist. Okay, you changed the name to Truist. Okay, well, we just received a check for like $5,000, and it's from a SunTrust account. Want to call and see if we could verify if this is a true check, if this is a real check. Yeah, I'm close. You can't do it over the phone. It's better to bring it in. Okay. All right, we'll bring it in. All right, thank you.
Yeah, the bank that was on the check. It was a bank. It was
Like SunTrust.
SunTrust.
They're no
So the
longer
check,
in business.
yeah, and the check was on regular paper. It was on paper, but the check looks legit.
If you're not savvy
You'll
or
see
don't
the
have
check.
a background in finance like him or haven't dealt with a lot of this, it could have passed.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it would have passed.
Yeah. A lot of people don't think. They say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got this check."
They just think
thinking
cashiers.
about the money.
And it says there's a bank address. It says the cashier's check. So most people would have just taken it and
Yeah. And
deposited.
yeah. And then so it was the thing that really, so it was like all these flags going up. So the check was made out from SunTrust Bank. SunTrust is a big bank, but it got it merged with a new bank. So actually the bank was out of business. I mean, it wasn't no more SunTrust Bank. It's now Truist Bank. So it merged, I think it was MBT or BBT and SunTrust. They took over a merger, and now the bank is called Truist Bank. So I'm calling the banks, and they're like, well, we need to see the check. I called the banks to find out if this was a legit check. So I read them off the number, I read them off everything on the check. Hi, Denicia. This is Ishé. I am calling because I received a check, and I wanted to know if you could verify this check to see if it's a real check.
Please wait while I check funds availability. At the present time, yes, there are sufficient funds for a check in the amount of $5,500.80. Please note that verification of funds availability is not a guarantee that a check will be paid upon presentation. Thank you. Please call again if you have any additional inquiries. Goodbye. And what's the name written on the check that it's coming from?
It looks like Excel Title Services, LLC, 109 East 4th Street, Covington, Kentucky.
Can you spell Excel for me?
Yes, EXCEL. All right, I guess that's it for today.
I would say if you take it into like one of your local branches to see if they can verify it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not my local branch, but just get an opinion from your branch itself.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll do that.
Was there anything else I could assist with today?
No, ma'am, that was it.
So
Do you want to tell them why, in case they're not sure what the consequences or repercussions are?
Oh, because the banks will cash a check, but you're gonna be responsible for it if it bounces or if it's fraudulent. The person who cashes the check is responsible for all that money. So I decided to call another branch to get another opinion.
Please hold while I transfer you to someone who can help you. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, thanks.
Okay. Yes, I received a check, and it's a cashier's check. I think it's fraudulent. I don't know if there's any way to check over the phone, or if I could send a copy of it through email. But I want to check before I try to deposit it.
Okay. Sure. So you just want to verify the check. You have the check number?
Yes. Check number 000-76401.
The amount?
$5,580.
The check dated date?
Date April 28th.
Okay. Is it a cashier's check?
Yes, it looks like like a cashier's check. Yeah.
And then let me verify the check number again. It says 000-76401.
Yes.
Okay. Let me call over and get that verified. Give me one moment, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, sorry for that hold, sir. Are you still here?
Yes.
All right, so we were unable to verify a check matching your description.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So this check must not be any good.
I wouldn't deposit it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for checking for me. I really appreciate this. I'm glad I didn't waste my time and money.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you have it. Checked again, and they said they cannot verify this Mickey Ficky check.
And then they told me to actually bring the check in so they can look at it. And so I'm like, cool. There's one right up, it's a Truist Bank right up the street. So I take the check in and I talk to the cashier. I'm like, can you tell me if this is a legit check? If this is a valid check? So she looked at it and took her about like 15 minutes, whatever she was doing behind the counter. So yeah, on my way to the bank to verify this check. Says it comes from SunTrust Bank, and I know they just got bought out. Them and MBT. I know there's 2 or 3 banks that got bought out. Now they're called Truist Bank. So the SunTrust Bank kind of raised the red flag for me. So I'm on my way to the bank to see if they can verify this check. Okay, I'm at the bank, Truist. Used to be SunTrust, and let's see what's going on.
Yeah, it's not a good check.
It's not? Okay. Yeah. Anything that I need to do, like, it was just trash.
Yeah.
Was that, do you see that often? Like, is any scams coming through like that?
Yeah, it's usually the scams where they ask you to do something and then you keep the majority of the money. It's so that you deposit it into your account or cash it.
Oh, okay. So say I took it to my bank and deposited it and got all that money, and they told me to give half to the movers or whatever. So is that the insurance from the bank that it takes the hit, or do I as the customer?
100.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. You too. And there you have it, folks. They tried to scam me. They tried to scam us. And as you know, we slicker than your average. Can't get over on us. But, you know, it was good to verify before I got in trouble. And I ain't trying to lose no money for somebody else. Like, why don't these people think of some scams and rob these rich billionaires? Don't try to rob the regular working class folks. All right, y'all. Stay careful and stay decent. And she was like, this check is no good. And I was like, gosh darn it. I was like, man, what is wrong with people? Like, if I didn't do that diligence, I would have just put it in my account. I would even like put it, cashed it through my mobile phone and took out the cash. And she said, we got to keep the check. I was like, oh, that was a key right there. They're like, you can't even have this back. Like, we got to keep this. And like I said, if I would have cashed that check, right, they said it could take like maybe up to 2 weeks before they find out if it's fraudulent. So by that time, I cashed that $5,000 check. I take the cash, $5,000 in cash back home. We wait for the movers. The movers come, move the furniture. I give them the $1,200 or $2,000 for the moving of the furniture. And that was another thing. Hold on, before I finish. I moved my whole house from another house, and that was only $1,200. So I'm like, what company is going to charge $2,000 to move 2 couches and a chair?
Right, and I moved from all of my I was in a 2-bedroom flat in Brooklyn, and that cost me like $600, where I had 2 full-size beds, heavy furniture, because the sofa was also a sofa bed. So that was like $600-$700.
So that was another flag. So anyway, I would have given up my furniture. I would have paid them $2,000, thinking I got $3,000 cash still in my pocket. Meanwhile, my furniture's gone, $2,000 is gone, and then the bank would have came back and said, "Oh, the check's fraudulent. You got to pay back the $5,000." That's what they do. They's like, you're responsible for it, even though we cashed it. You're still responsible to pay it back if something's wrong with it. It's like if it's fraudulent, we can't get it back from the person that sent it to you. You're responsible. So I would have been out of $5,000 and my furniture. People are doing scams like this to regular, hardworking folks, not like corporations or anything. Like, why don't you do some, I don't know, why don't you do some big hacking or something? Like, they just try to take advantage of, regular
Everyday,
citizens just trying
everyday
to,
people.
just trying to do stuff like sell things,
Yeah. So, and you don't know what that could have done to a family. Some people are genuinely living hand to mouth right now. It's been a really tumultuous 2.5 years or so. A lot of people are out of work, yada, 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 or lost months and months and months of work. So you just don't know. This could be something that really sets them over the edge. So it's really, really sad. And the thing is, there's been an influx since this time. Like, since that time, we went back to that person and we were kind of playing with them a little bit, teasing them like, yeah, it's at the bank right now, and we've deposited it. We're just waiting for it to clear. They told us to wait 2 weeks, and he's like, what? They made you wait? It's cash in hand virtually. And we're like, well, we've been told to wait. And then he would still check back in every day or maybe every other day.
He was still kind of like, oh yeah, I'm
yeah, like it's
money
working.
and that furniture.
I'm so close. And then eventually he's like, so what? Like, I mean, it's been nearly 2 weeks. What's going on? And then that's when I broke it to him. The bank confiscated your check. And all of a sudden, Facebook user, poof, disappeared. And his profile was gone. And
another one popped up.
More have popped up.
They said, yeah, we want the furniture. And it was the same script.
Same verbiage we've discovered. It was like exactly the same script. But now they've graduated, because this actually took place a few months ago.
In the summer.
Yeah, and now it's actually, they've moved away from the checks altogether. And they're doing something entirely different.
There's one more. So I was selling my car. Selling my 2016 Land Rover. Now, the price is over $20,000. So there was a person that said it was on Marketplace. There was a person that said they was interested in the car. But this story was like, oh, I'm somewhere south of Virginia, and it'll take me like 2 hours to drive up there. Can I come see the car on Friday, and I'll send you a check? Same thing, or I'll give you a check. You take cashier's checks. I'm like, yeah, let's see what happens, right? Because I already know this is like, I already know something's up. So anyway, the person, he never did come look at the car, but I think he sent a message like, can I send you the check?
So we're like, here we go.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I cashed this check, and then what? Then he was like, yeah, you can cash the check. So what if he sent me the check? I'd have cashed it. He'd have came, looked at the car. We did the transaction. He's gone with my car, and I'm out of my car and $20,000, $25,000. Mm-hmm. That's how much I was selling it for. Mm-hmm. So
it's crazy out in these streets, honestly. Like, let this just be a warning. I know there are going to be several of you who are like, oh yeah, of course we know this already and yada yada yada, but there's always going to be people who are susceptible, because if there weren't, and if these scammers weren't successful, they wouldn't be doing it. So even if this message is not for you, it's certainly there for someone, and there are populations that are going to be slightly more vulnerable. So, just like with anything, like with those scam phone calls that you get, like there are going to be people who are going to be more susceptible and give away their social security number or their bank details to whomever they've got on the phone that's threatening X, Y, and Z. The things that these scam artists are capable of, they'll lie and say that you're in jail and that you need to give X amount of money in order to get this person, a loved one, out of jail. It's endless what they'll come up with. Mm-hmm. And you just have to be really a calm, centered person that can just take a breath and not let them sort of dictate the process at which, the time that it takes you to process something, and really suss it out well. Filter it thoroughly. Just yesterday, we were made privy of a new sort of like the evolution of this scam. So now they've left cashier's checks altogether, and they're doing it through Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. And I have had no less than 24 people contact me in the last 24 hours with the exact same script. Hey, is this dining room set still available? This one right here. Yes, it is, I reply. And now they've started to add more questions, such as, how long have you had it? Everyone started to ask this question, and I was like, how long have you had it? Well, it's been here since 2019. What's the condition? Condition is really good. Okay, can I send you a check? I'm not available to come get it, but I want to get it today at 6 p.m. All of them, exactly the same script.
Same thing.
I'll send so-and-so to come and collect it at 6 p.m. today. They are never available themselves, whomever is actually typing. And then what they do apparently is they grab your Zelle or your Cash App or your Venmo. They ask for your email address, and then they send you an email from what looks like is coming from Zelle, Venmo, or Cash App saying this money has been deposited into your account. What really tipped me off, second to the fact that the scripts were obviously becoming very clear in a short amount of time, was when the first gentleman who I initially entertained, who had a profile, by the way, because they've gotten better about these Facebook profiles as well now. This gentleman's profile had been open since 2009 and had quite a bit of content on there. So I was like, oh, whereas like the prior, because prior they weren't going through that much detail, to be honest. Like a few months ago when they were first trying to get us with the cashier's check, they didn't go through the trouble of building out like a full-on, they maybe had 1 or 2 friends. I would check the Instagram, 1 or 2 friends, but whatever. And it did look suspicious, which is obviously why we kind of halted at that point. But this time they've gotten far more clever, far more evolved in terms of how they're building out these pages. And I don't know if they're taking pages that have been abandoned or what they're doing exactly to create the history that's on these pages. But basically what really set it off for me was when the quote-unquote older gentleman said to me, just keep checking your email. You should have confirmation of the amount having been deposited into your bank account. And I was like, well, why would I be looking for an email when I know that was Zelle, especially Zelle?
I'm looking at my account to see if that money is in there.
Exactly. That's what tipped me off, because just like I had actually done a Zelle transaction yesterday morning before this gentleman popped up on my Facebook.
To our friend
in Kenya. And I was like, hey, I just sent you the Zelle. And he's like, yep, it's already in my account. I see it. It happens in real time.
Yeah. You don't have to wait for an email.
No.
And then look at your account. Like, who does that? You're looking at your account first. Some people, I don't even check my email like that unless one time a day I check it. Other than that, if you're sending me money, I'm looking straight in my account.
For those of you that are not on this side of the world, with Cash App and Venmo, which are app-based, phone-based apps, there is a delay.
Direct money deposit.
Well, you get the money in the app, but actually you have to transfer it with Cash App and Venmo. There's a transfer that has to take place. Zelle is the only thing that is direct, real-time deposit from bank account to bank account, which is why I thought it was suspicious when he said to me, continue to check your email, when really all I need to do is check my account. It's in my account within minutes.
Right.
Period.
And if you're on the same, if your bank is in the same network as that person's bank, it's even quicker.
Yeah. It takes honestly less than like 10 minutes before the cash appears. If it's a legitimate transaction on Zelle, when I say real time, that's what I mean. It's like it's in under 10 minutes. So that's why I was surprised. And then that's when Ishé said to me, do a quick Google search for Zelle scams. And sure enough, I went Zelle scams and poof, all these articles came up dated September 2022. We're currently in October. Here's the latest scam happening on Facebook Marketplace was Zelle. And then I went on to read it, and it's how they're doing it with Cash App and Venmo, because once I caught on to the Zelle thing, I already knew once the article explained that they're also doing it on Cash App. I started telling people who were reaching out, I cannot accept Zelle, Venmo, or Cash. And I have all three. But I said I cannot, and every single one of them dropped off.
That's something.
I said, if you can't bring me cash, which is how we sold his vehicle, by the way.
Yeah.
After the whole
guy came.
The whole check debacle, after the whole check, he literally came with a bag.
Yeah. And I sat there at a table counting out all this money.
Cash in hand, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not messing about because we're just, listen, guys, we are not millionaires yet. Okay. We are not multimillionaires yet. Okay. So we cannot afford to be losing never mind 25 grand, 3 grand,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah, I mean, $500, $100. I don't want to lose. Nobody wants to lose anything.
you know.
You know, and that's why we decided to let you guys know if you hadn't known, because people were saying, oh, that's an old scam, or you don't know about that. It's like, no. who would know about all these scams unless you have the experience?
And also, unless you're actively selling for some reason, like maybe you don't need to be like, if you don't have anything to sell, you're not on Marketplace. So how would you know?
Right.
Until you have to get on Marketplace.
Yeah, and once you get on there, you're just expecting normal people to reach out to you, you know, that's interested. And the same thing, like even eBay. I'm selling stuff on eBay.
Same thing.
I've been doing good on eBay. Like everything's been legit because you don't have to deal with the person. When they win the bid, they send the money. eBay takes the money in escrow. Wait till that person sells it. Then they notify you to ship the stuff. So I had one sale. This happened twice. One jacket that I was selling, this person won the auction. And then they never paid. I kept sending them an invoice. They never paid. With the jacket, I had to relist it. Like, wasted all my time. Like, the bids would get way up there. This person won, and then they didn't pay for it, and they didn't say anything. But you can't. It's hard to do it on eBay unless you are just like really clueless about it. And the second time it happened, and this was just like last week, the person won the auction, and they didn't pay yet, but instead of paying, they sent me a message on eBay and said, hey, I know you want your money quick. Why don't you email me at this address so I can show you how to get your money faster. You only have to wait 3 days on eBay for your money to get there. So it's not like, I guess they trying to work off people's emotions or their desperateness. Like, say I was really desperate and I needed money. That's why I'm selling some stuff. And I probably, like, not in my right mind, maybe I would have emailed this guy and, whatever questions. I just deleted him, canceled the listing, and I had to relist it again until somebody legit won the auction and paid for it.
And that's the other thing. It's like it's wasting our resources in terms of time and energy because I was dealing with that older gentleman who I thought was legit for about 5 minutes. By the time I went back to another woman who seemed to be legitimate, she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we moved on and we actually found another table." So it's like
so
because I had said to her, because I was saying to everyone else that contacted me after that, I think I have sold this table already. And at least one of those people was like, please circle back to me if you haven't. Sure enough, I did. And by the time I did, a few hours later, she's like, oh, my husband and I have picked something else. So sounds like she was a legitimate buyer. And we lost out on that because we're dealing with foolishness. Like, it's just the lost laws on all fronts, like, honestly. And it's hard to not get sort of like deflated and tired off this kind of stuff because listen, we've got things to do and we don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again. Him having to relist the same items repeatedly, me having to deal with no less than 24 scammers. It's wasteful.
It really works on your nerves, your time, it's a lot to deal with, especially when you're trying to field questions, you're trying to answer all these questions, and then your mind subconsciously is thinking, oh, this is going to be a sale. This is going to go through.
I know.
Then you find out they on some BS. They on some bull. I don't know. It's so anyway, we wanted to make everybody aware who is not aware of this scamming as like people say we should be aware. I mean, I've only seen an uptick in scams when the pandemic. That's when people ain't got nothing to do. Idle time, idle hands,
And desperate times.
Yeah, desperateness. People out of jobs. People figuring out the next hustle, the next thing, how to make money, side hustle, side jobs. Even if they got to scam somebody, but and
get several opinions because if you go back to what Ishé said initially, he called the bank, and he spoke to one representative upon receiving the check, and they actually told him to go ahead and deposit it. That was obviously not the right advice to take. He had enough sense to ring someone else, get somebody else who said, pause, bring it into us.
Yeah.
So get 3 and 4 opinions if you are uncertain. If you just, it doesn't hurt, because if it's a legitimate sale, they're going to wait a day or 2 or however long. If it's a legitimate sale and they actually want to purchase this item from you and everything is above board, they're going to be patient enough to let you go through whatever you need to go through to protect yourself, right? And if they're not, then if they're pressuring you, they're probably scamming you, because they know that the more nervous you are, the more anxious you are, the more pressure you feel, the less diligent you're going to be about doing your due diligence to ensure that you don't get caught up in a mess. And by the way, one thing that he didn't allude to, which actually happened to me, believe it or not, when I was 19 in Vancouver at UBC studying on my little French scholarship at the University of British Columbia, is that it actually ruins your credit. It happened to me, and it happened to me with my people who I thought were my friends.
Yeah, that's another thing.
People who I thought were my friends. When I tell you, they gave me a check, and they're like, because they saw that I had excellent credit. Thankfully, the thing about me is I've always managed to maintain excellent credit. I'm very grateful for that. I've worked very diligently to always maintain excellent credit. And even at 19, I saw the value in that, even though I was still immature, didn't know what I was doing, and still racking up credit card debt. I always made sure to pay, and so therefore I always maintain excellent credit. But the point is, my friends saw that I was able to deposit a check and then take out cash right away, which back in the 90s you were able to do if you had excellent credit with the bank. And I did. I had a long-standing history with the bank. So if I deposited something, I was able to withdraw it straight away. They weren't holding my checks. When they saw that, my so-called friend said to me, "Hey, I got this birthday check. It was a gift from my dad. I think it was like $500. Do you mind depositing into your account since there's no hold with you?"
That's a lot when you're a student.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a lot.
Like $1,000.
It was a lot.
10,000.
And it was traumatizing. So sure enough, I said, yeah, being 19 and having very little life experience, I said, sure. I didn't run it by anyone. I deposited the check. I gave that person $500. And wouldn't you know it, it was a fraudulent check. And on top of that, they went on a shopping spree. Like, I think they had managed to get my debit card. Yeah, what they did is when we were at the beach, they went into my purse, which I'd left in the vehicle, in their vehicle. They went back to their vehicle, pulled out my debit card, and went on a shopping spree because I wasn't diligent about looking over my shoulder, making sure that they weren't looking at my PIN when I was depositing their fraudulent check. So not only did they give me a fraudulent check, they stole my debit card, went on a shopping spree, and it wasn't until the bank rung me and said, "Are you at Walmart spending $3,000 right now?" And I said, "Hell to the no, I'm not." And that's when they said, "Well, your card has been stolen." At that time, the damage had been done, right? So I had to get an attorney, okay? First of all, I had to ask my parents for money to fly back home. Let's start with that. That's how bad this thing set me back. Because now I'm owing almost $4,000, and I'm 19, and I'm in Vancouver, where I don't have any family or friends. My family had to fly me back home. I had to get an attorney, and we had to work it out with the bank. And the workaround was this: I had to pay it, but in return, they weren't going to destroy my credit, because it would have affected me for 7 years. So I was still out almost $4,000. I still ended up having to pay that, like he would have. The only silver lining for me was that we had come to an agreement where they wasn't going to go to the credit bureau, and they were going to wipe it off my credit history with the bank, and it wasn't going to go to the credit bureau. That was the only way that I was going to agree to this. So it's no joke out here, guys.
And if her money was funny and her credit wouldn't get it, she wouldn't be here. No, I'm just messing. I was messing. But no, but anyway, I mean, yeah, it causes. There's like a domino effect of things. Time is the worst enemy to a scammer, because they know the longer it takes for you to do something, they know that their scam is getting caught.
Right.
But also, you have to do all this credit repair, and that's why we gotta go through hoops now, using our own debit cards and credit cards, a bank will be like quick to like stop it or call you, or you know, you can't even use it in certain places because they gotta do all this
Nigeria.
extra security fraud stuff. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's no
so
shade,
it's even
but
here. Yeah, it's even
we had issues in Nigeria
everywhere.
because,
yeah, issues there,
Yeah.
and it even carried over here too. You know, so.
Because a few people ruin it for everyone, unfortunately. You know,
Yeah.
like Nigeria is made up of over 100 million people, 99.99% of them who are honest. But because a few people, right, went and did whatever foolery they went into, it has a bad rep now. And so when we were there, we were having issues with our cards. We couldn't even log into our bank details. The banks were not even allowing us to log into our bank accounts online. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We couldn't even see our banks online because our IP addresses were showing Nigeria. So
Yeah.
a few people are just ruining things for everyone. It's
Yeah.
really unfortunate.
Yeah, if you're ever in another country, make sure this is another note, but get a VPN so you can switch it to the States if you have troubles. But yeah, this scamming and constant, you know, people trying to take your stuff from you,
Yeah.
your hard-earned money
Yeah.
away from you so they can get it, it's really tiring. That's why I said I'm tired too. So, but anyway, that was that's our story on these scams. We just want y'all to be vigilant and watch out, be careful. You know, the scammers, every time security measures are taking place with companies, they up their game a little more. So they're always up in their game, which causes everything else to get more and more secure, and more hoops, authentications, you know, phone calls,
Face ID. All
yeah,
that.
Face ID, stopping
Yeah.
your card and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Well, thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for listening to our story. And yeah, take our advice if you haven't already. Like, I'm sure there's even more scams. I mean, if you know some other scams, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Also, again, check our other socials. We're on TikTok. Got a nice TikTok page going. It's lit. Got so many people looking at little TikTok videos. We have, our TikTok is Meet Takeste and Jones. Instagram, Meet Takeste and Jones. Twitter, Meet Takeste and Jones.
We'll put it all in the description box.
Yeah. Her channel, Alkali Yogi. Check out her podcast on iTunes again.
you.
And I'm just doing videos on YouTube.
Living Ishé reviews, which will also be linked down below. So
Yes.
Your support is appreciated on all fronts. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in and listening to us. And until next time,
Stay decent.
get free and stay free.
Peace.